and welcome back to Gapey's Garden. Today I thought I'd give you a little tour of my cherry tomatoes in the garden this year. I have 11 different varieties, 2 of which are actually volunteers. So this is one of the volunteers. I'm pretty sure it's a yellow gooseberry. I haven't actually grown this variety in a couple of years, but that's the only thing I could think of that would be growing over here. There's a few tomatoes, only a couple ripe ones so far. This isn't my favorite variety, so I'll probably end up giving a lot of those to the chickens. And let's walk over to the ones in cages. So I have 6 varieties over here using the Texas tomato cages. So this one here is called Pearly Pink Cherry. These are fairly large and they aren't really pink, they're more a bright red. And they have a pretty thick skin so they don't crack too much. And then we have Napa Rose. This is another one that's kind of it's kind of red but not as dark of a red as the other one. And this one has a really thin skin and does tend to crack. And then we have blueberries. And it doesn't really, these aren't really getting very blue or purple like they should. You can see this one is a ripe one here and it's just pretty much red. There's no purple or blue on it. There's a little bit on some of the green ones. You can see a little bit of a dark on the top, but that goes away as it ripens. So I'm not sure if it's due to the weather or maybe the variety I got from somebody isn't true to type. Let's go around the other side. This one here is called Isis Candy Cherry. It's a really pretty orange variety. The skin is really thick and the tomatoes are very firm, so it's hard to tell when they're ripe because they don't ever really get that soft. Oh, and here's a darker one. So this one is darker because it's more ripe than the others, but still it's not very soft. And then my favorite is Sun Gold. This one has a lot of smaller cherry tomatoes, but they're super sweet and it's really productive. So this one I'll probably grow in the garden every year. And then the other one over here is Black Cherry, and this is another one of my favorites. These get a little bit bigger than a lot of the other cherry tomato varieties, but they're super sweet. This is the second year I've grown those. The rest of these are larger tomatoes, and I'll do a tour of those another time. But let me show you my other volunteer. This is another favorite of mine. It's called Indigo Cherry Drop. And these are a really dark purple. This one is actually just about ripe. You can see it's getting a little bit of red on the bottom. But that's how you know they're ripe, because once by the feel of them they're a little bit soft, but also the bottoms turn a little bit red. So those are a really tasty and really pretty tomato. And then I've got 2 hanging baskets over on the shed, and these are mini bell varieties, and they require watering pretty much every day, but even with daily watering they seem to get dried out really easily, and they're in fairly large containers, but they're just a kind of a traditional red cherry. They're not bad tasting, but they probably need a lot more fertilization and lots of watering, maybe even twice a day during the hottest days. And then the other one over here, it gets a little bit more sun, and the tomatoes on this one are actually a lot larger than the other one for some reason, but they're there, so there's still a lot of flowers left on these plants. And then lastly, I have a couple of tomatoes in the compost bin. So this one is called Sunrise Bumblebee. I've grown purple bumblebee before, but this is the sunrise version. And I think there's also a pink bumblebee as well. But it's hard to tell, but there's some striping on there. So they're kind of a yellowish orange stripes. And when they're green, you can see the striping a little bit better. And then the last cherry tomato is not doing very well. This is one I actually got from a friend, and I just put it in here, and She doesn't even know what variety it is, but it's some kind of an orange, small cherry tomato. But it hasn't really grown since I planted it, and it's just gotten a few tomatoes. So I'll probably be digging that out here pretty soon. So I'll give you another tour of the garden with the larger sized tomatoes here in another week or so. I'm still waiting for a few of those to turn ripe. So hopefully by then I'll get to show you all of them. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.